use the South Asian lens. Over here, men are essentially a portable ATM until they die. And women are essentially a incubator and nanny until they die. Performative, performative, performative. It's never about me or them as a man. It's always them as the man, parentheses, the role.
The moment they heard the word feminist or feminism, they run away like, it's like the crazy.
Why are you buying into the patriarchy's narrative? Why are you, making the fight harder for the rest of us? But you're a guy, you have to work. It reinforces the same narrative he was raised with, that he's actively trying to overcome. Anything that involves female, menstrual health, or anything that involves contraception is, we don't talk about it. When at some point I did a part-time job as a teacher, I ended up having to teach 4 girls about their menstrual health. Spider-Man, amazing powers, saving people. Again, performative action. Iron Man, performative action. Superman, performative, right? They're always doing something.
Is it too much? Shoot, tap out. Okay. How many ovaries does a woman has? Should I stop?
No, I'm this deep and keep going. No.
Back, we had our campaign regarding gender-based violence, and we were getting videos from youth. So basically, that was supposed to be all men saying like why they stand up against GBB or what they think about gender-based violence.
Right.
And then. But it was very hard to get, men to talk about. So we were like, okay, we were not getting any leads. And we thought of it, just go to youth groups and youth volunteers. And at that time too, women were like, oh, can I send you a video? I was like, no, I need, men to talk about. But then, when we thought, fine, just let's have, mix of those videos and reels. And so we managed to, get videos from 2 young men as well and 2, young girls. And then, we posted on our social media. And I was just, going through the analytics and feed. And I just noticed something. That all the men videos on those young men videos, there was absolutely no comments. Although they they got more reach, but no comments from their friends and like that. And when I got to the videos of women, there were comments like, "Oh, proud mom, wow." Louder, and you go, girl. And literally, it was, although they didn't do that well in terms of reach, but I was, just going through feeds, and that actually, came to my mind. And actually, a few years back, Hassan Minhaj also mentioned this in his talk with Jimmy Fallon, that how these positive and pumping up comments are filled with his wife Instagram. So that actually hit me as well. So I was like, why? So that's why I invited you to be on this episode, because you have a background in psychiatry as well. You are a therapist. That make sense to me. Why it's so hard for men to communicate, or to actually to just give those positive affirmations and emotions. That's also I mean, why you men don't post on each other's videos and comments like, go bro, or, looking cool, bold, that kind of thing. Why?
So there's a bunch of things that need to be addressed, but two of the biggest things I'll start with. One is the narrative you're introduced as a young boy. Boys don't cry. All right? Let's start super basic. Boys don't cry. If a girl, a young child, a female child is crying, usually the first idea is to try and soothe her and tell her it's okay, we'll take care of it, etc. There's a very nurturing narrative around it. With boys, typically the narrative is it's not a big deal. Get up, walk it off, or brush it off, or, big boys don't cry, right? That's one thing. The other is something I came across some weeks ago, which I think is a good way to sum this up. Men don't deal with they don't talk about their problems. They just deal with their problems.
Oh, wow.
Right. So it's fairly insightful, right? Because the thing is that men have been raised with this narrative of get it done, right? Whatever it is. And usually there's in a more blunt way, our life revolves around performative action, right? And performative action means that we have to do something and obtain a reward. Women don't necessarily have to do that, but they're lauded for it if they do, because they're going above and beyond what they're expected to do. Now, without being accused of being sexist, that is not that. No, I know that narrative is going to be there. The thing is that women have now got more opportunities than they ever have. They can choose to be homemakers. They can choose to be workers, right? They have more opportunities. When was the last time anyone respected a stay-at-home dad that wasn't on Instagram? Right? I'll give you an example. Do you have more respect for for your cleaning staff or for the son of a billionaire who does nothing? Yeah, exactly.
Obviously, the cleaning staff.
Why? Because he's doing something.
Huh.
Even though that it's not necessarily the most glamorous job, but he's doing something. You respect him more because he's doing something. The son of a billionaire doesn't do anything, but he has oodles and oodles of money. Many people think it's the money that motivates men. It's really not. It's the sense of accomplishment. Add on a layer of the social responsibility of a family, your parents, your siblings, your wife, your children. And that, because again, everyone looks to the father to provide. They don't look to the mother. At least not initially. They look to the father because he's the one who goes out in the world and earns, right? So with that comes this expectation of, it doesn't matter, I have to provide. It doesn't matter what I'm doing, I have to provide. And the problem is, if we're not doing something, inherent shame develops. We feel ashamed.
Now, that's the question, that who is making you feel ashamed? Like, see, that's the thing as a society, that shame doesn't happen in silos, right? Someone is actually telling you.
So here's a question. Yeah. If you have brothers or if you have any male peers in your family, ask them when they were growing up how many times they were told they need to score well or do well so they get a good job. And compare that with the women who were told the same thing. Now that narrative is much more common, where the girls are also encouraged. Just go back 10 years and see how much the narrative has changed.
Girls are still encouraged, but in our society, it's more of a score high, get a good degree, so you can get good proposals.
Yeah. So what I affectionately call your marriage value goes up, right? But with men, the thing is, look, again, we'll use the South Asian lens. Over here, men are essentially a portable ATM until they die. And women are essentially a incubator and nanny until they die. If you boil it down to the absolute basics of the role that the South Asian lens instills on each gender. But there is a little bit more of a sort of emphasis on you as a woman as well. Are you looking after yourself? Are you taking care of yourself? What's your role in the house? Men, nobody cares how they're feeling because feelings get in the way of what they do.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Nobody cares, right? And I think, do you think that they also don't care? I don't know how many men comes to you in therapy. Are they more than the women or are they less?
Absolutely not. Men don't come to therapy. So, no, there's a reason for that because, again, there's a little bit of a discourse shift if you look at the West versus the South Asian lens. Now, in the West, there has been this sort of discourse that's come up where they say that therapy has become too effeminate. And by that, it's very feeling-centric, right? Now, the thing is, men, sure, we can talk about our feelings, but it always boils down to the same thing. What do I do? Right? What do I do to fix this problem? And the thing is that inevitably, because in therapy, obviously, we have theories and modules and whatnot. Oh, no, you need to be in touch with the inner child. You need to do this. You need to do shadow work, this, that, this, that, this, that. And it's very frustrating for a lot of men because they're like, this does not help me. It doesn't get me results. It's too slow. There's no immediacy, which is not to say that there isn't results. There is. But for the average man, it's just, no, I need to solve this so that I can start performing again or perform better. Women are more inclined to believe, okay, how does this make me feel? Where is this coming from? Oh, it's because of that. Yeah, you know what? I feel a lot better. And it resolves itself because they're significantly more patient. To go back to what I said, men are performative, women are nurturing, right? So, and the thing is, the few that do talk about it usually end up expressing a lot of regret because in their opinion, I was never raised to be in touch with my emotions, and now it's alien to me. And my partner's frustrated, so what do I do about her?
Yeah, it's interesting, that you mentioned about the feelings and how less they come to therapy. So, and also, with the things are obviously changing. The gender roles, are shifting, and obviously we women have adapted this like this fast, like like we were waiting to ace it all. So but the men and the young boys that I come across and generally see, they are actually lost. Because the thing is, that's actually, I have heard so many men say that she earned by herself. I can't provide for her. Like, then what I do?
See, there it is.
See, so but the thing is, that's what we say that apart from being an ATM, this is the general narrative in the South Asia.
Yeah.
Men could do like so much in terms of emotional support, physical ones, and being your soundboard and that sort of thing. But obviously there's a disconnect because they don't get it. They don't get it. So that's the thing, that how like all the things are changing very slowly. But in South Asia, like in art, it's like it's actually at a plateau. It's not going anywhere because and the moment they heard the word feminist or feminism, they run away like it's like the crazy.
Yes.
So like how to bridge that gap, or how to bring to that wavelength, or how, if I can rephrase it better, to how to get them, or how to talk to them first, to bring them to that table. Because with the public health narrative, obviously they are the other half of the other part of the problem, right? So we cannot aim to do any advancement in gender if we are not taking them on board. So how to talk to them?
Okay, so this is to go back to what you said initially about why men don't comment online, or they don't do that, but women do. Our relationships are very faceted in, again, this is a generalization, but generally with men, your friends have they have a primary role, which is why they're your friend. You'll have the sporty friend. You'll have the social friend. You'll have the really good for parenting advice friend. You'll have the complete screw up, but he's great fun to be around friend. So very compartmentalized, and that will be the role he occupies in your mind. I go to him for financial advice. I go to him for social advice. Women have a much more nuanced set of relationships because you have groups of friends, right? You will always have a group in some fashion, whether it's a group of 2 or a group of 20, it doesn't matter. With us, though, our exchanges with each other are usually based, again, on the idea that we will support each other as a brotherhood. Now, the problem is the brotherhood spaces they don't exist anymore, unfortunately. I don't know about South Asia because, unfortunately, I didn't grow up here. But I know in the West, for example, you had Cub Scouts, you had Eagle Scouts, you had these kind of little pockets where you could train as a group, right? I don't see that here.
Is it because of the family structure, or there's so much emphasis on marriage?
Yeah.
Uh,
I'll actually no. I will actually preface that by saying it's not that it has to do with marriage. It's because of the breakdown of the traditional home. Now, single parenthood is so much more common than it's ever been. Divorce rates have spiked more than ever, even in South Asia. That in turn contributes to the breakdown of the duology that is marriage, the traditional marriage. Now, young men who don't have a male figure end up very confused about their role, right? So that's why we used to have parents who would take, or fathers who would take their sons fishing, hunting, camping. Now you don't see that anymore.
that's true.
You don't. And remember, again, when it's just a father-son weekend, often the father would say, whatever happens on this trip, mom doesn't need to know. Mom doesn't need to know. It's just us. It's just us men, right? So that, again, that narrative of accelerating their growth. You're now a man, gut this fish. Or make this fire. Pitch your own tent. Practical skills. I don't see that anymore. I haven't seen that in a very long time. I'll give you another good example. In the South Asian lens, usually fathers will take their sons to the mechanics, but not their daughters. Why? Why? There's a very strong differentiation between the role that you occupy. Men will pay the bills. Men will go to the mechanic. Men will get the groceries. But they will not go to the salon. They will not go and get a facial or something. Right? And women, they will not cook. Admittedly, no, self-grooming, very important. But it's not a typical narrative. Men don't cook. I mean, how many times have you heard a mother tell her son, this is not your job. This is my job, or your sister's job, or your wife's job, or your daughter's job. That narrative is still there.
Yeah.
It's still there.
Yeah.
Men don't cook. Why not? It's a basic skill. It's a basic skill, right? So again, the narrative is a problem because there's very strong gender roles which are enforced by the previous, by our parents. Now, obviously, it's changing, but the problem is the change is so drastic that there's almost like a shock that's taken place. So, to go back again to the relationships that you were talking about, how do we talk to men? You don't. You let them talk to you. They need to be given a safe space, where they know they will not be judged. They will not be shamed, and they will, the magic word you want, they won't feel emasculated. Right? Emasculation is a very strong narrative trend when men try and talk about mental health because, again, primarily Western viewpoint, a lot of men report that they feel less attractive to the opposite sex when they talk about this. They feel like less of a man because women want manly men who get it done, But if you talk about your feelings, all of a sudden, they're not quite so manly anymore, right? I know, it's a fallacious statement, but it's real. It's here too. Men don't want to feel effeminate. See, you use that word, right? And you talk about feminism. Feminism is unfortunately treated like this bugbear because, again, social media has portrayed feminism as this new wave movement that all women are jumping on because they hate men. Women don't hate men. They don't hate men. They're just asking for equal opportunity.
And feminism and being in feminism doesn't mean that, we just we just want rights for ourselves. It's about, everyone deserves an equal rights and opportunity regardless of their gender.
That's right.
So this is what feminism is about.
But the problem is, it's treated as an import of Western culture. It's inherently antagonistic to South Asian values because women have their place, right? Again, that narrative which is very problematic. Now, again, I know I have met women who said that, no, I choose to be a homemaker, and they've been shamed by their own fellow women. What are you doing? Why are you buying into the patriarchy's narrative? Why are you, making the fight harder for the rest of us? And I'm just sitting there going, but she's not. She's just living her life. That's fine. If she chooses, it's her decision. If she enjoys that paradigm and enjoys that dynamic, more power to her. So there's problems within feminism as well. At least here, because the narrative is skewed on both sides. A lot of people like the idea of being feminist. I've met a lot of men who say they're feminists. So you're okay with your wife working? Oh, absolutely not. What? So, alternative I've also, again, I've met women. Yes, I'm a staunch feminist. So you don't mind paying the bill? No, a man should always pay the bill. right? So cherry picking and having a double narrative,
Yeah.
you need to get rid of those first.
Yeah, exactly. See, there's a flip side, and I tell this all the time to my friends as well, that you can't pick sides, right? You cannot expect to be him to be a feminist, and then when he say that, oh, I'm burnout, I need time off from work, and then you cannot say, oh no, but you are a man, you have to work, you have to pay the bills. I was like, this is not how it works.
So then let's take this exact example. Let's say this is a couple which is very forward-thinking, mental health, men's rights, men's mental health, all of that. But you're a guy, you have to work. It reinforces the same narrative he was raised with, that he's actively trying to overcome. But now the one person who you trust with all of your emotional baggage is turning around and telling you the same thing. You will shut down. You will start distrusting or mistrusting them, right? So that's why the boys' night or whatever, it used to be very commonplace. I mean, there was a recent study that was done which said men need, I think, 2 boys' nights a week to function at baseline or optimal mental health. I forget which one, but 2 boys' nights. I can speak for myself. I get one twice a month. And that's with massive amounts of scheduling on everyone's part. Many people think that the boys getting together is raunchy or whatever. No, we literally just sit there and talk. Literally, like what we're doing right now. We just sit there and talk.
Yeah, if you guys talk about your what's troubling you and that sort of thing.
Yeah, we do.
Really, like the good ones, because the ones I have seen, it's like they would be discussing a new video game or a car or its specs.
Well, you think I don't do that? Of course I do that. It's a guy.
Yeah. But that the more kind of, because when we girls meet and we have our conversation, it's like from A to Z, like what's happening, what's in our mind, and what's bothering. It's like, I mean, we know each and everything of our lives. So that sort of thing. But I think so with men, it's not that common. Either it's rest or it's here. It's here to like it's very very walled up.
So here's the funny thing. One of my closest friends, I still don't know what his job is. I still don't know what he does. I just know he works in IT, but I don't exactly know what he does in IT, right? And we're fine with that because it doesn't benefit our relationship knowing or not knowing. It doesn't change anything because he's my go-to when I need IT help, for example. He's my guy, right? I don't care what you do. I don't need to know what you do. I just know I have fun with you. See, that's how that joke where 2 men walk into a room and they start insulting each other and now they're best friends. Yeah, that's actually how it works with us because the idea is that if you can keep up with me that way, we're good. We're good that way. And to be fair, that is actually kind of how I met him. So we know. And the thing is that again, he doesn't know what my specializations are, right? So which is alien for you as well. You said I know everything. Another very good friend of mine, I didn't even know how old his daughters were, even though I interact with them almost, every week. I didn't know how old they were. You're interacting with someone almost weekly. How do you not know how old they are? Yeah.
And why the thing is why the details of the most closed person is why these details are not important to life.
Oh, they are.
And
they are important to us, but they don't change the reason why we're friends. I don't need to know how old his daughters are to know that this guy is the guy I go to when I'm struggling or when I need help with something. Doesn't change our relationship. It adds to it. But again, I can appreciate what it adds if there's a practical value, right? If it adds, again, there it is, the performative component. So a very good friend of mine who's a neurosurgeon, I will go to this guy whenever I need help with, diagnostics or testing. Sure, I love going to him. I love talking to him about that stuff. For the longest time, he didn't know I had a sister. He had no clue, right? I think only a few years in, he's like, wait, you have a sister? I was like, yeah. I never told you? No. Oh, okay, now you know. Great, okay. So, and that was it. That was the end of the conversation. So it's, again, what does it add to the relationship? Not a whole lot. We don't need to know a lot about each other to trust each other, as weird as that sounds. Because the performative component as a man is significantly more important than knowing the itty-bitty details, right? it doesn't really, again, when we talk about brotherhood, right? That's the abstract concept of brotherhood. I don't need to know where you were born. I don't need to know how much you earn. I just need to know, can I trust you?
That's a very interesting thing that we a few months back we were doing think tank, and we gathered young men as well to talk about menstruation and how we can sensitize men about it. So that's a very interesting comment someone made, that if you would send a girl to talk about menstruation with us, we would never talk about it, we would never listen. But if you would send some elder brother or some senior, we would like, oh, this is, yeah, he's making sense, it was important. So that's when we realized, and that's the exact comment he made, that कि हम लड़कियों की बात तो नहीं सुनते, ठीक है, तो ये है कि हाँ, unless कि कोई भाई या दोस्त या वो आके बात करेंगे, तो it makes more sense. And we were like, that it shifted our whole approach, that now we have to train boys and men on the menstruation and all things, and then we have to send them in universities and schools.
Yeah.
So like, is it true? Why you won't listen to us?
It's not a
Your gender.
So there's a little bit of a proviso, I would say, over here, that when it comes to the middle class or educated class, they're more inclined to listen to women because, again, you would listen to the person who's going through it rather than through a mouthpiece of that gender. So the educated elite, not elite, I wouldn't say elite.
They were educated bunch. The young men, the students, they were like, from upper middle class.
Really?
Yeah.
I find that a little strange, but okay, so I'll take that narrative, Fed. So the thing is that because if we put male relationships in the spotlight, remember, an older brother figure is a success. He's what you aspire to be because he's older, he's done it, he's working, he's earning, he's supporting. Working, earning, supporting. Remember, these three pillars are very important to men. So if he's talking about this, he's coming from a place of experience, of practical knowledge. You need to understand reproductive menstrual health because it will affect your life. Of course, it'll affect your life because if your partner is unwell for a week, it's your problem. And I don't mean that to sound sexist, but it again, if we put it in practical context, you now have to manage them and manage the home in addition, right? So the thing is that then you have to understand what they're going through. And remember, it's practical. What are you going through? Now, the problem is that period cramping it varies. It's a spectrum. It varies by age, by hormonal.
The emotional.
There you go.
Yeah, emotional.
So the thing is that, again, I've heard lots of men be dismissive. Oh, it's not a big deal. Bardash kar lo. Just tolerate it. No.
If they talk about it, women in our culture, in our home, women don't talk about it. Even they don't tell their husband.
See, because it's considered shameful.
Yeah.
Again, the South Asian narrative is it's shameful. Whereas I would ask them, wait, so breathing is shameful, peeing is shameful, bowel movement is shameful, because it comes in the same autonomous body function category, right? Just because it's woman-centric, somehow it's now taboo. That's ridiculous, right? So, and introducing this narrative that's why the older brother type figure thing, it makes an impact. I'm a little surprised, though, that the educated lot was behaving this way. I would imagine this would be a bit more common with the lesser educated. No. But I find that alarming that if that is the case, because I would, again, if you're educated, then inevitably you will encounter these problems. But like I said, I don't know. Now that you've said this, I find that rather alarming.
Yes, and they were, university students. And also, another interesting thing that they mentioned was that despite of that they would only, listen or to their male fellow, or that it would have a bigger impact they were actually shamed by their same male fellow when they wanted to talk about menstruation and what women go through and how they can support in that phase. So like, exactly. Again, make it make sense. That they were shamed the same people, but they will again listen to the same people.
So
How does it work?
So here's the thing: if when we talk shaming, we're obviously saying that don't talk about this.
Yeah.
Right. Now the thing is that it's a way of encouraging them to understand, but don't talk about it because again, you're not technically supposed to know this. Right? If we're not supposed to know something, but we know something, we have to pretend. Because otherwise, the narrative will be, like most female partners tend to do, can you go get my pads?
Yeah.
Right? And if you notice, if a man goes and does that, it'll be an inconspicuous brown baggie. The pharmacist...
Women get the same.
Right, because again, the inherent shame of talking about body functions, right? It's the same way with, contraception as well. It's treated on the same level. It's something taboo. Now, the thing is that narrative obviously needs changing, and education, I would imagine, is the primary way to do it. Make it very normal. Normalize the conversation. Children, the tee-hee-hee, that kind of thing. No, teach them what's so funny. Because the thing is, again, I can't really comment on the education system, but I know it starts there, right? It starts there. The teacher should encourage students not just like, what's so funny? Explain the joke to me, And then, obviously, yes, there's an element of shaming with that. I recognize that. But children, again, because it's taboo, like body humor, the poop jokes or the pee jokes is very fascinating for them. This is no different. So when you normalize that, yes, it happens, please explain the joke to me, right? When you take away that element, the taboo element, it loses its power. Oh, yeah, it's normal. And then eventually, it will take time, obviously, because there is a cultural bias in this too.
A very strong one, because, as you mentioned, like I have actually never seen a man buying pads. Like I haven't seen it, and it's like it's almost happened every time that whenever we get to the cashier and he is taking that patch to scan, like it's like he has been handed over a bomb, and he's like, oh my god, scan it, and at the other end, my mother is like, this side pe karo, side pe. It's like they see this happens every time, and that, and also the flip side, how you can put condoms at the front with the cigarettes at the cashier, and our pads and tampons and everything related to women health and hygiene, it's way back at the aisle.
Because there's actually a reason for that. It's because that it's to protect the women so that they can go do whatever they want without being observed. That's usually why it's usually in some faraway corner where, yes, it's inconveniencing, but that's the notion, at least, that most pharmacies maintain. Keep it far away.
I think it has to do with, again, the shame. Oh, that's true. And oh my God, people are watching that you are buying pads.
So the funny thing is that you mentioned condoms and contraception. Again, it's the same brown paper baggie, right? It's the same thing. They give those to you, and if you ever Plan B, ECP, over here it's called ECP, even that, in very hush tones in a small little brown baggie, they do exactly the same thing. Anything that involves female, menstrual health, or anything that involves contraception is, we don't talk about it. It doesn't exist. And if someone does bring it up, just shoo. Get it off the table. It's filthy. It's dirty. Get it away. Right? And yes, because again, the misunderstanding. You go to any British, American, European type thing, and it's just, here you go, and that's it. They only make it awkward if you make it awkward, right? And that's usually the teenagers, obviously. The men or women, they don't care. It's just another routine item. So the narrative obviously needs changing on a very, very institutional level. If I've been told in this region, when it comes to science, when you're being taught science and whatnot, there's an entire chapter of reproductive health that's usually ripped out of the books.
Yes.
So
And it's just not on elementary in that basis. Like, when we were in the medical college, can you imagine that, it's just like almost we were not taught the male reproductive system, and also the same with them, because the teacher was like, she was a doctor herself, but she was also way more uncomfortable than all of us.
So the funny thing is, weirdly enough, when I at some point I did a part-time job as a teacher, I ended up having to teach 4 girls about their menstrual health because I had to ask them multiple times, "You're okay with this?" They're like, "Yeah, it's fine," right? And it was just another routine day, right? But when I talk about that here, everyone looks at me like I just killed their goldfish. Like, why? You're a guy. And I'm like, yes, and
Yes, that's the thing. Why you are a guy? Why do you need to know about menstrual health and period and cute?
why shouldn't I? Why shouldn't I know about this? Because if you have a partner or any kind of healthy, let's say, heterosexual relationship, or even otherwise, you need to know how to support your partner. That's literally the essence of any healthy relationship. How do you support your partner, whether it's physically, emotionally, or psychologically? And this experience covers all 3 of them.
Exactly. And I think so, not even like, partner, your friends, colleagues, sister. Sure. And I think so, like, I start to recognize this, that we have to take some of the blame as well, because we never told that. See, like, and we never, said to them. Of course, things are changing. But this is all about, like, women are not telling their partners,
You're right.
their brothers, fathers are still, still the outreach ones. But yet things are changing, and whenever we do sessions on menstrual health, uh, we almost never get a mother coming to us.
I was literally going to
But
point that out.
but fathers do. Can you and this is like so much, like, it's a very proud and heartening moment for us whenever a father comes and he said, whenever you have a session on that, my daughters wants to attend it, although they won't be in that session, but they would make sure they would sign up their daughters for it. And we were like, and at first this experience was very new for us, and we used to ask, does this happen? Like, does it really happen that a father came to us to sign up his daughters to attend those sessions, but we never get mother comes.
So I did want to point this out, that the thing is that, because to go back to that narrative of empowering your children,
Yeah.
a father will do that. See, if he thinks that my daughter needs to understand her own body, and I think this person is an appropriate professional, he'll go ahead and do it. A brother or a father, usually, there's a mix in those two. They'll go ahead and do it. Unfortunately, I don't like using the word blame, but I will hold accountable most of the mothers who do not empower their sons to understand this process, right? Now, the thing is that, again, there's South Asian lens, which is primarily responsible for this. But the thing is, they'll talk to their daughters, but not their sons. And the father will obviously, he's not going to talk about it to his son because, why? He's not a girl. Why do I have to tell him? So, and the mother will, no, this has nothing to do with him. So the thing is that, yes, fathers will, again, remember, it's about empowerment, teaching your children to survive.
I don't believe that COVID impacted men and women alike, especially in terms of mental health. And this is what we have been listening to, and reading stories and that stuff, that the dating ratio or the relationship ratio in terms of men, it came like way down. See, and they became, I don't know, like more lost, or there's the whole epidemic of loneliness.
Yeah, loneliness.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That because we are like trying to make things as sensible as possible. That okay, yes, there's the male loneliness. They are all walled up. They don't want to talk. How to engage them, as much as possible to, all these life decisions and the things are changing.
So I'm really happy that you mentioned the male loneliness epidemic, because I haven't met a lot of women who are aware of, here at least. I talk to anyone internationally and they're like, yeah, we know, it's bad. Here, oh, what are you talking about? No, they're not lonely. So, okay, fine. So the male loneliness epidemic, let's break it down to its core components. So number one, COVID devastated the work landscape, right? It devastated it. Men are already very sensitive to career impacts. They're very sensitive because, again, if we're not performing, we're useless. That's our narrative. That's not women. It's us. We are useless. And if you have the good fortune of having a female family member support you, oh no, you are depressed. I'm so useless that she has to support me. It's not out of resentment. It's out of gratitude that, yes, but that's not her job. It's that narrative. It's not her job. One. So that ruined it. Two, any relationships that might have started at that time were destroyed because you can no longer meet each other face to face. You're risking death.
Yeah.
2. 3, you were restricted to a sterile screen where communication, because remember, humans are very sensitive to body language. You now have, the best thing you have is FaceTime or WhatsApp or whatever network you're using. It's not the same. You're right. It's sterile, yes, because there's no body language. Like, you not that way. The cues and whatnot, right? There was that. And then, obviously, being stuck in a very confined space for extended periods of time. Depressive, right? Now, when we talk loneliness, remember, we don't have the same relationships we used to. There was a study, and I did quote this somewhere else, which was done recently, where men were asked, how many close friends do you have? People you can rely on in a crisis. They were polled recently, and overwhelming majority said 0. And yet men in, I think, the 60s were polled for the same thing, and they all predominantly reported 5. I think the mean number was, we have 5 friends. Men, generalized statement, don't have friends. They can't talk to anyone. They feel ashamed if they're not working. They have all these complex emotions that they can't share with anyone unless we're dating her or she's our wife, right? But now you can't even date properly. There's an added component, online cancel culture.
Yeah.
Naming and shaming, right? That's not healthy.
Exactly.
Because, again, a relationship thrives with clear boundaries, right? But again, South Asian lens, you're not taught boundaries here. Here, no one is taught boundaries. Every client starts with boundary learning, as far as I'm concerned, when they come to me for sessions.
Boundaries doesn't exist.
Oh, they exist. They're just bad ones.
Yes.
They're bad ones. Unhealthy ones.
Yes.
They exist. Boundaries require undesirable behavior with a clear and very, very defined outcome of that poor behavior. For example, if you're going to call me names, I'm no longer talking to you. That's a boundary, right?
Some people say that's actually threatening.
Hold on.
Yeah.
A threat requires communicated potential harm to your body.
Okay.
Yeah, I know I'm going into semantics, but how have I threatened you? I haven't threatened you.
Because, when it comes to, male relationships and their dynamics, whether, it's father, brother, or husband and friend, if that boundary comes from a man, that's actually, taken as a threat. Or maybe, I don't know if it's, related to the concept of masculinity or toxic masculinity. But yeah, so here's the thing. So here it becomes confusing that, is it threatening? Or is it what's that about?
So the magic statement that, therapists love, context matters. right? If you're saying it raised, if you stand up, flare out your shoulders, raise your voice and say it, yeah, that's very clearly a threat. But if the way we're talking right now, that, Bismah, please don't talk to me about my weight. I feel really insecure about that, because if you're going to do that, I'm just going to walk out, right? Please don't. That's a boundary, right? That's it. Context matters. Now, you raise toxic masculinity. So here's the thing. Toxic masculinity over here are considered, and again, South Asian lens, considered very desirable traits.
But how, that's the thing that majorly, and maybe as you said, that these aggressive traits are very desirable in our culture. That if a man yells and he shouts, so he's the real one. He's the man. Yeah, he's assertive. Thank you for mentioning that toxic masculinity and how these traits of what
Narcissistic traits.
Yeah, exactly. They are of being associated with men, and obviously, don't get me wrong, women and other genders do have that trait as well. But obviously, I think so with the time being, and with the social media and also the media, especially ours media, that portray these kinds of heroes, where they kidnap the heroine, or marry them by force, and how much they have the high rating, opposed to a drama which show the show drama where a woman is doing her thing, and she's dealing with domestic violence and that sort of thing. So do you think that the content that the men, especially the men in our society, are consuming has much bigger impact than the family or the environment? Because people do say things, and that's a common notion that your upbringing is everything. It doesn't matter if you are in the bad environment or those kind of influence. So is it like social media or upbringing?
Okay, so the thing is that when we generally talk about media,
Yeah.
Young boys specifically will always gravitate in some fashion to a fictionalized ideal of a man, whether it's Batman, Superman, Spider-Man, Iron Man, all that. It'll never be Wonder Woman. It will never be Catwoman. It will never be Huntress or whatever, right? Because those are exaggerated facsimiles of the height of success, right? Spider-Man, amazing powers, saving people. Again, performative action. Iron Man, performative action. Superman, performative, right? They're always doing something, and they're either wealthy or they have something that offsets what would typically be considered a deficit. When was the last time a young boy, I have never heard, again, disclaimer, my favorite person who I want to be like, Catwoman. What? Never. Huntress. So, or I don't know, Scarlet Witch, Woman. Or, yeah, exactly. Wonder. Because, again, these are marketed more towards women, right? Again, you'll notice that, let's take, again, Wonder Woman, built like an app. She is an Amazon.
Yeah.
Right? Very masculine features, which is then balanced off with the femininity. Long, flowing hair, very particular physique, right? But somehow never quite matches up to her male colleagues, right? All of this is, I don't want to say insidious, because again, that would be overthinking it. It's media for consumption at day's end. But you see it long enough, it bleeds in, right? All of them are in superhuman fit condition. When was the last time you saw an unfit superhero? And it's usually played off as a joke. Right? The only one I can think of, because I'm a Marvel fanboy, is Blob, from Marvel. Right, which is morbidly obese super villain, not even a hero, super villain, right? So undesirable traits because label of villain, right? Now, if we take a more recent approach to it, look at all the Marvel movies. Look at all of them. They have 8-packs. 8-packs are not possible as far as I'm aware. They're not possible, right? And again, if we want, look at what happened in Endgame. Thor became fat.
Yeah.
It was played as a joke, even though he was, I think, clinically depressed. It was played off as a joke. See? The trivialization of real problems. If you, as a therapist, you want me to break down that movie where he meets his mother and he goes through the stages of grief.
Oh.
And I was cheering because I was like, yes, thank you, someone who's portraying it correctly. And then it played off as a joke immediately after, right? It all bleeds in, right? And the thing is that media plays a huge role. Look, if we go back to the 90s or early aughts, the early 2000s, Cosmo magazine, bodybuilding magazines, all of these unrealistic standards of beauty. When was the last time somebody said that, oh, it's attractive to be mentally healthy?
Yeah.
And as a young boy, like me, for example, I'm a big Spider-Man fan. I grew up with that, right? But for me, it was always about the fact that you want to help people, right? I'm never going to have genius level intellect. I was a C-grade student. So I know my limits. Right? But I worked on it. I did my therapy training. I did my licensing. I did all of that, and eventually I got to a point where I am proud to say that I can help people. I'm proud of it. But would I give it up to be like Spider-Man? Absolutely not. Because I know it's a fantasy. I know that. So yeah, media does influence kids drastically. Now just to touch back on the South Asian lens, kidnapping a girl and having her fall in love with you is not true love. That's Stockholm Syndrome.
Yeah, that's Stockholm Syndrome. Our society, our narrative, it's taken as something, again, very manly. Oh my God, he is not giving up. He is rushing after a pant. When he take a step back, it's like he is not accepting no.
Buddy, you are a stalker.
Yeah, there is no absolute respect of consent.
There you go. See? Now, but I will preface this argument and say that it's still acceptable because at day's end, media requires suspension of disbelief. You will suspend this idea of consent and rejection and social rights and propriety. You will reject that because it's an escape. Dramas, to a lesser extent, because they're in serialized formats, they're a lot more down to earth. That's why they often will touch on things which you won't take very seriously, as non-seriously, I should say, right? So if some guy is just, shows up to the girl's house, middle of the night, says, let's go, and then all this, and everyone's like, just boo, what an idiot, that's true. Oh my God, what a creeper, right? But again, because it's serialized format, it's more down to earth. You're willing to impose social restrictions on those, right? Unfortunately, dramas over here, in my experience, also have very problematic social displays because they will follow the same things which are so attractive to the demographic. Marriage, family drama, abuse is normalized, although I'm glad to see that there's some discourse about rejecting that discourse. And, the eternal problem of in-law problems, the joint family system.
Yes.
Right? So, but it's a minefield, I won't lie. Right? And funnily enough, just as an aside from my side, anytime I ever observe my mother watching something, I'd just be sitting on the couch and I'd just be mentally diagnosing that, like, oh, you have a personality disorder, you don't understand boundaries, this and that. And she's just looking at me like, just stop it. We know they're all unwell.
You are kind enough to just, say it in your mind, because my commentary goes on, although I don't say with her to watch those dramas, because I disrupt every second that what he's doing.
Yeah.
Why you are watching? Oh my God, why they are doing this in their home? Are they normal people? Who does that? So it's just a kind of that thing. But that thing will I am able to identify that as a person who has exposure, education, and that sort of thing.
The word you want is privilege.
Yeah, privilege. Thank you for reminding that privilege. So yeah, the privileges. So that's actually very important when in terms of when we talk about role models, because yes, you mentioned Avengers, Spider-Man, Batman, every other superhero. what I think and what I feel is that, men, young boys, they don't have what we can say heroes or superheroes in real life. Like you find, the media is showing them trash and just building this what we call it, Delulu land. But yeah, so how, because when we talk about advocacy and how to actually do and shift and bring people towards behavior change, we talk about that influencers, not the social media ones, but the one who are in the society, are in the position to influence it, especially when we talk about men. Because as you said that they are very performative, they need some like father figure, a role model. So this is what we are lacking. And from a like public health perspective, or my lens, that if I am going to design a campaign on gender-based violence, or to talk to them about, for example, menstruation, a very common one, a natural process, how to actually not navigate and penetrate to their this like a wall or the puddle thing, or actually maybe identify those societal or community influencers, heroes, or make them that sort of thing. How we get to the public health profession get to do that? How can we actually tap into those spaces?
So there's a problem with this narrative when not so much because of the lack of heroes, but the fact is there are heroes. You and I will not consider them heroes in any facet, though. And the problem is mainly because it's religious. The heroes that generally, from my observation, are considered heroes are usually preachers. I do not see any heroes, rather, I should say. I'll give you a fun little realization I had when I first moved here. Why are all the commercials about women with washing detergent or about like self-care dermatology products?
Thank you so much that you mentioned
Like,
it.
where are the guys? Why is it always a mother or a young bride? It's always these two. And the young bride one particularly horrified me. I was like, why is she modeling a mattress with her wedding? It's that. Am I missing something, or am I just broken in the head? So just and then plus my mother, she had to explain that this is normal here. It's all dermatology products are all women, or cooking products like oil or the soap for the dishwashing, or the Ariel, liquid powder, whatever. Where are the husbands? Like, just what's going on, man? Where are the guys?
Shifted to the life skills. Cooking is a life skill.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be gender centric.
It's not.
But I often hear it like so many times from my mother whenever I point out something that, oh, where's his husband? Why she has to always take care of her children. And my mother instantly said, "क्योंकि ये माँ का ही काम होता है." And yeah, exactly. And I was like, gosh, you are the woman. And I would say that women are the gatekeepers of patriarchy.
Agreed. Yes.
Because they are like, why you, like the thing is, why you are taking upon yourself that, and that badge of honor that, we are having to do everything. And that's why I mentioned that, the being a woman, I have to, take some blame on me as well, because we never tell men that, we are going through a period, give us some space, or, I'm going through something, or, it's your responsibility as well, because you mentioned, men are performative. So unless you tell them, they won't have any idea that what's going on. Because in our mind, we have everything, from the script, the conclusion. And when we talk to them, it's just like a complete blank canvas.
You'll appreciate this. What's wrong? Nothing. It's like, no, but something's wrong. If you cared, you would know.
Exactly.
And again, because again, women are very supple. They pick up on cues. Men, if you do not point out the problem, we will assume there is no problem, because if there's a problem, you tell us. See, again, performative. Do it. Something I try and encourage a lot of couples to do. Your partner is not psychic. Tell them, even if it's the most basic of basic things, tell them, because they will miss cues. They're human. Guys especially, they will miss cues, because we don't look for this stuff, right? Unless you're a therapist, of course, or you work in mental health, you'll pick up on these cues because you're sensitized to these things. But the average guy will not know what's bothering you. And again, when couples come in, I'm going through my period and he has no clue how to look after me, my first and only consistent question is, have you guys designed an emergency care package for when you're on your period? And they both kind of like, what? So, yeah, I know.
What is an emergency
So
care?
I say emergency because the thing is that it is an emergency when a woman is on her period, because she needs immediate reassurance. She needs care. Look, without being graphic, you're going to bleed for 7 days. It's not fun.
Fine, but also,
Sure, fair enough. Fair enough.
fair.
You're still bleeding, right?
Yeah.
It's painful. It's uncomfortable. You get bloated. Your hormones are all over the place.
you feel ugly as well.
That's it. Emotional, psychological, physical components, all three, right? Have a cushion, have a weighted blanket, have her favorite coffee or chocolate or candy or something, and her favorite show and some tissues.
You tell these things to, a Pakistani man, and he would like,
He'll say,
why?
No, and that's the thing. No, but he's genuine. He's like, why? I was like, look, do you want her to be happy and leave you alone? Yes. So why? There's your answer. I swear I'm not joking. And then he's like, well, that makes sense. And then he's like, what's your favorite chocolate? And it starts all over again. So, you should know what her favorite chocolate is, right? So, or if, they don't like chocolate, fine, her favorite chips. I don't care. Weighted blanket so that she has something on top of her favorite cushion to put her head or between her legs. Ideally, a heated blanket, ideally, right? Her favorite TV show or series so she can binge that for a while because it's comforting. It is comforting. Patterns help us function when we're overwhelmed. And her favorite beverage or food, because again, she's going to need the nutrition, right? And leave her alone. If she wants you there, she'll tell you. Do not overinvest that way. Again, I admit this might not be a perfect fit for every guy, but generally speaking, the action speaks much louder than the actual performative component, because she feels validated. And because he's done something, he feels validated too. I'm looking after her.
Yeah.
See? That's the emergency care package routine I encourage clients to have. Some of them do, surprisingly. I was very surprised. Oh, wow, okay, so you're the smart kind. So, but usually they're long-term couples. So the thing is that, and this isn't hard, right? But if you don't talk about this experience, like you said that you blame yourself. I would disagree. You have nothing to blame yourself for. Because, again, the problem is myself, we are products of the South Asian lineage, right? We are products of that. So intrinsically, we are biased towards certain thought patterns and behaviors. We are, like anyone would be, right? So, but the thing is that you are aware of it and you're open to reject. I mean, you're literally sitting here talking about it. So you're open to rejecting the narrative and not just rejecting it and leaving it in a vacuum, but replacing it with something significantly more healthy. I don't see any reason to hold you accountable for anything. You're changing the narrative. That is a start. But you're not the gatekeeper. I wouldn't call you a gatekeeper. I'd call you an advocate for this. Because the more you talk, the easier the narrative becomes. And who knows, one person talking about it is a success. Just one.
We are so privileged and, so humble to have this experience and this talk today in our episode of What About Men podcast with the coolest therapist in the neighborhood, Bilal Shadani.
That's so nice.
So thank you so much for having us, and stay tuned for our next episode. Bilal, so are you ready? What we're going to do is so much fun. So today,
Fun for you.
Bilal is our is subject on which we are going to test this period pain simulator. Why he is going through that? We are going to ask you questions about female reproductive system, health, and let's see how much do you know.
All right.
And I have taken this question from Roe v. Bros, a game show on Instagram. So check their Instagram as well. All right, are amazing. Shall I start?
Yeah, I don't think I could say no, so sure. Low, please. Please. We go easy.
Obviously. Okay. Let's start with the feeling something.
I think so.
Okay. So, tell me, how many phases are there in the menstrual cycle?
Oh wow, I used to said this. Okay, yeah, there was something. I don't know. Four.
Okay, we will see. What is a menstrual cycle?
It's the period of the shedding of the uterine wall in preparation for a baby.
Very good. Okay. What is a period?
It's the actual breaking down of the uterine wall as you've shed blood with has all the uterus cells in it, as it breaks down.
Okay. Good question. Do you think it's important for men to know about the menstrual cycle?
Yes. Yes.
Why? Elaborate.
Because it's part of every healthy part of every healthy relationship that you understand what your partner is going through biologically, which includes physical changes. Biological changes as well as physical effects that they may have on their body. For example, with women it's the period. For men it might be prostate changes, it might be digestive changes, IPS, etc. Okay, keep going.
Should I keep it? You are sweating, Bilal. Okay, what does IUD stand for?
Intrauterine device.
Oh gosh, okay. What does PMS stands for?
PMS, premenstrual syndrome. Okay.
Oh gosh, okay. How big is a human egg?
It's microscopic. I mean, don't ask me the exact.
Is it too much? Shoot, tap out. Okay. How many ovaries does a woman has?
I don't know.
Should I stop?
No, I'm this deep and keep going. No.
Okay. Use menstruation in a sentence.
Menstruation is a very difficult time for any woman that she goes through. At least, like she goes through in a month.
Okay, read that. Okay, how much blood a woman loses during her period?
I don't know.
Okay, last, a very important question. Why should men be able to have a say on women reproductive choices?
Why should they or why do they?
Oh.
Why do they? Because it's mostly old men in parliament making laws on things that they have no history or understanding of. Why should they? Because it's important to have an equal say in these matters. Because at day's end, it's important to have an outside view on these things.
Do you want me to shut it off?
No, I'm stopping. I'm stopping.
No, Bilal, be a man and tap out.
Really?
Okay, we are already on 15. I think so it's too much. You sure? Just like that. Now tell me, can you go to work in this condition?
Can I? Yes. Will I? Hell no. No.
Very good. And so that's why we need pink leave and period leave. Are you sure, Bilal? The abandoned tap out.
Do not keep saying that to me. I won't do it out of spite. So.
It's not a competition. Are you sure? Any last wishes? It's already on 50. Let's easy on yourself. Be easy on yourself. All about self-love.
What does love have to do with this bullshit? That has nothing to do with this.
Now I can shut it off. Do you want to? Do you want?
What do you get out of this if I keep going?
See, that's the thing that you get to actually advocate about. Women should get why women should get pinkly. And
I've always said that they should. I've always said that they should. It's just as important as maternity leave. We know this. But it's a bad financial policy. We all know it's about money.
No, but now you had experienced it, how you're feeling. So, guys, you think that if your girlfriend came to you or your partner that she is having a period, would you say to her that, oh, you are being all dramatic?
Really? I'm the guy who's advocating for the emergency care package. Really?
Okay, again, last question, last time. Would you want to go to further? Yeah, definitely. No. Be a man. Tap out. Embrace. Oh my gosh. Look, if anything happens.
Yes, it's fine. I'll sign whatever you want.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh no. Almighty.
Oh, let's ask again. Okay, how many female reproductive parts you can name in 10 seconds?
Let's see. Fallopian tubes, ovaries, cervix, uterus, what's vagina? I don't know. Vagina. Fallopian tubes. Have I said that alright? That's all I can think of right now.
I think so. I would be. Yeah, you have my sympathy, and
Really?
Don't worry about this. But yeah, I think so. You had been champ. I think so. We can just get it down. Oh my God. You are literally sweating. I see, man, this is all we go through every month. Every month. And this is average.
Really?
This is average. Literally, this is average. And I think so, yes. We really short because I want you to live.
Oh, this won't kill me. It's just going to drive me off the wall.
And we're done. Oh, happy. Wow. Yay, clap for yourself, Bilal. Oh my God. How are you feeling?
Oh, I need to lay down.
You need to lie down. This is the basic instinct. So I think so when you, and I believe so, when you walk out and, tell your friends about it.
Oh, I'm not going to tell them. So you're just going to watch this instead. They're just waiting. They are literally waiting.
Oh gosh, it was so much fun. But no, mostly apart from fun, it was just an exercise to actually get you through how women feel, what women feel like, what we feel every month with this pain, and how actually we go to work, we do surgeries, we do house chores.
Yeah, house chores are...
Exactly, with all this pain.
Yeah.
So, it has stopped and you are still feeling something going on.
My leg is twitching, so, there's obviously something going on. So...
See, after that, Bilal, stop being over dramatic. You are just it's just periods.
It's
just period. So with that, we are leaving our audience with this state and let him rest. Okay, rest for some time, and we will come back with another section. Thank you.